Good afternoon, Nomonde, and welcome to the PM News Desk.
Good afternoon, and thanks.
Look, these awards are a brilliant idea. What was the intention behind them?
Basically, the awards, when you're looking at the rationale behind why we even have these awards, a time came where we had to recognize the excellence amongst practitioners, especially practitioners who report on SADC-related matters, So hence the need to establish these awards, but also to make sure that SADC regional issues are kept at the epicenter of our day-to-day lives, and we're able to talk about them and understand what is actually going on within the 15 member states who reside within SADC.
Nomonde, just take us briefly through the categories, and what is that journalistic spark that you're actually looking for in the winning entry?
Currently, we have 4 categories. We've got a category for print, and minimum words, it's 600 words. We have a category for broadcast, both radio and television, and we're looking at minimum 60 seconds up to about 180 minutes, because the lengths and formats are not the same, so they differ and they vary. The 4th category, we're looking at photojournalism. There we'll look at probably a picture or pictorial, but all these stories that get submitted must have that SADC regional appeal to them.
All right, you have a new category this year. It's called the Water Media Awards. Tell us about that.
The Water Media Awards has always been there. It's just that it becomes one highlighted award on the side, because it's important that we also take care of environmental issues. As you all know, that water is becoming a scarce resource, so we have to make means that we look after that particular resource. Hence the special focus that what is it that we want to teach our audiences and our listeners and our readership. Why is it also important for them to look after their water and preserve their water? So that particular category will be looking at those particular issues.
Nomonde, there has been a tendency, or trend rather, to report negatively on the continent, to focus on the dark side of Africa, to denigrate the land of our birth. But if you look, there's actually a grand reawakening happening, isn't it? There's promise here, there's an abundance of raw potential. How do these awards extend that idea of coverage of human interest stories, development and so on?
You see, the one most humbling thing about these awards is that here we are given an opportunity to tell our story, to own the narrative. Who else is better placed to talk about what is happening within the region? Some of the things that, some of the journalists that might have covered from an economic desk, is trade within the SADC region, how do we promote trade amongst the countries, and that boosts our economies. So those are some of the positive stories that we seek to promote. We also want to promote developmental stories. How do we empower ourselves within the region? Looking at different things. We can talk about education. Earlier on, you spoke about ICASA being taken to court by telcos, because they're talking about issues of that termination rate. Within SADC region, what we'd want to talk about is the issue of the roaming, because those are some of the things that we have to take care of, because it becomes expensive for us to communicate, because the cost to communicate become very, very expensive. So these will be some of the other developmental issues that we'd want journalists to actually focus on.
But turning the agenda around, the media agenda around, is going to be quite a difficult task, seeing that the gatekeepers of media are still pale male and rock solid.
One of the future plans sitting within the NAC, within the SADC awards, is that beyond the awards, what we want to do is to create a platform where we grow a breed of journalists who will be able to articulate SADC regional issues, who will be subject matter specialists about these particular issues. For instance, we'll have a journalist who is very conversant when it comes to economic issues, who will be very conversant when it comes to health-related issues. Now we want to build a breed of journalists who will speak with authority when it comes to SADC regional matters. So that is the future plan. However, from a South African perspective, we know that we live in a democracy which believes in the notion of empowerment. And we sit here inside the SABC, we have news editors, we have a CEO that has just left us, who was a she. That in itself tells us a story that we are ready for change, and women are also being given an opportunity and a platform to serve in these institutions.
Thank you, Nomonde. I'm afraid we're out of time, but it was wonderful chatting to you. Moving on to other news. Protests continue to rock the Egyptian capital of Cairo. This after more than 500 alleged Muslim Brotherhood supporters there